Oh, oh, how I understand that, y'all. Oh, how I understand that more than you think. Being hated for something you have nothing to do with. Being hated by people for something you have nothing to do with. You were just born. God made a decision that he would take Willis Bowick and Alice Lee and cause them to come together and have they would connect and produce a young lady that they would name Delphine. Delphine has nothing to do with it, but be hated for something she had nothing to do with. Would be chosen by God to do some things, but be hated for something she had nothing to do with. I'm trying to tell you, don't you let that stop you. Don't let it stop you. Joseph has so much in him that regardless of what they said or regardless of what they did not like about him, it couldn't stop him. They didn't like him. Verse 4 clearly says they did not like him. And then it goes on to say in verse 5 that even though they didn't like him, he dreamed a dream and told them about the dream. So you cannot stop what God has ordained. It's just a waste of time. Lord have mercy. They could not stop what God had purposed. And so what I'm trying to say to you tonight is quit letting people stop what God has ordained. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Quit letting people stop what God has ordained. What you doing? Quit letting people stop what God has ordained concerning your life. So what? They don't like it. They'll need you after a while. If you just keep going. If you just endure hardness as a good soldier, they'll need you after a while because they're going to need you to pray for them. They're going to need you. They need you to keep your heart right. Joseph kept his heart right. Boy went through all kinds of changes. I wish I had time to deal with it for real. The boy went through all types of changes, y'all, at the hand of his brothers. God help me, please. I wish they could hear me tonight. I wish they could hear my heart. The boy went through all types of changes because of his brethren, not because of his enemies. His brethren became his enemies. Now that's a whole nother subject. That's a whole nother message. How the brethren can become your enemies. God, don't let me do that to nobody. Please don't let me do that to nobody. Don't let me be brethren to somebody and then turn around and be their enemy. I'm sorry, man, if I ever did that to anybody. I repent now. I don't want to do that. Don't let me do that. These folks started out as brethren. Saw their mama pregnant, was more than likely excited about the fact that they were finna have a little sibling. But as soon as the sibling was born and it was revealed that there was something special about the sibling, they got mad. Began to then take up a vengeance against the sibling. And then would get so messed up about the sibling that they would strategize a plan to get rid of the sibling, to attempt to go and kill the sibling. But because the hand of God was so strong on the sibling life, they could not do it. That is a terrible thing. God, please don't let me, God, go do something with me. Don't let me be like that, God. I don't want to be that type of person, Lord. I don't want to hurt nobody like that, God. No. I don't want to do that, God. I just see just how dangerous that can be right there. I've heard this on so many occasions. I've heard people preach this. I've even tampered with this some myself. But I seen it in a whole different light just then, y'all. These people went from brethren. God help us. Please forgive us. Lord, please. I say it all the time. We messed up. I say it all the time. We need some help, y'all. We got to quit this stuff. We got to stop this stuff. And, do you you see how this went? These folks went from being brethren to turn to enemies. God help me, please, Lord, please help your servant tonight. These people went from brethren and turned to slap enemies. Slap enemies. That was about to become murderers. They were about to become murderers. I said they were about to become murderers. If it wasn't for the intervention of God, they'd have murdered that boy. They had done devised the plan of what they would do. God help me, please. I'm trying to land the plane, y'all, but I'm stuck. They went from brethren to enemies. God, please forgive us. God, please. I can't do that. I don't want to do that to nobody. They went from brethren to enemies. From seeing their mom seeing this boy mom carry him, knowing that they would have the same blood inside of them. Most kids, when you see them, the parents start dealing with the other siblings about the new coming baby while they're carrying the baby. You're going to have a little brother or a little sister. You know, they didn't have, ultrasounds back then. So, they didn't know unless the Lord told them what the baby was going to be. So they have to embrace the other siblings to teach them that you're going to have a brother or a little sister. And so that is to play with the stomach and teaching them to love the baby while the baby is yet inside of the womb so that they bond with their sibling. Now, this had to be going on, and so they would bond with this baby. But as soon as this baby was born and it showed or revealed that, hey, Joseph was a special kid, that Israel would treat him, not so much different from them, but as to say, listen, there is something about this baby, because this baby came at a time in my old age when I did not think that I would be able to produce. And so this is a baby that the Lord has chosen to do what he wants this baby to do within the earth. Listen, let me tell you something. There is something about you that you have been chosen to do something that God wants you to do in the earth. If I be a woman of God, and this morning when I rose, I didn't have a bit of doubt about it. You better know that. I'm trying to tell somebody that there is something about you. You have been born for a purpose, a divine destiny. God has a call for you. There is something, and there is an election that you need to make sure. But you got to stop letting people stop you from doing what it is that God has purpose for you to do. You got to stop letting the way they look at you look at her. Well, let them look, baby. Just be cute like I am and let them look at you. Don't worry about any of that. You got to stop letting the things that they bring up about your past stop you from doing what God done chose and purpose for you to do. You've got to quit that. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? So what? They bring up your past. It's your past because it is a testimony now of the goodness of God. It will exemplify and show the people just how the hand of God is so mighty. And his love is so unconditional that if he has to reach way down, he'll pick you up. And that's what it is going to demonstrate and to show. You cannot allow even the things that you beat yourself up about to stop you from doing what God has purpose for you to do. I'm after your spirit tonight to bring you to a place of obedience, to bring you to a place of surrender as to where you would answer the call. You hear the Lord, you hear him, he's calling, and in the day that you hear the Lord calling, harden not your heart. See, some of you have heard the call even a while back, but would not answer the call. Why? Because you did not feel like you were worthy enough for the call. call. Well, baby, let me tell you something. Let me hope you with something. There's not going to ever be a time where you're going to be worthy for the call, okay? Because there's always going to be something that God is having to work with you concerning, right? Even Saul that became Paul, all right? He had been converted and had been changed, but yet had some thorns in his flesh that Satan would use to buffet him. So God is always going to leave something that he can buff you with, something that he can remind you that it is because of the Lord's mercies and his compassion that we are not consumed, right? So he's going to leave something there. So if that's the reason why you have not answered the call, then shame on you. If you have not answered the call because you are worried about what people are going to say, well, then shame on you, because guess what? They talking about you with you not answering the call. They still backbiting you even though you have not answered the call, right? They still dragging your name through the mud even though you have not answered the call, right? They're still bringing up your past even though you have not answered the call, right? Right? You might want to answer the call. The phone ringing. What you doing? What you doing? Answer the call. Answer the call. Answer your call. Answer your call. The Lord is calling. There is purpose on your life. Answer your call. I'm telling you. Answer your call. Answer your call. These jokers took Joseph through some stuff, all at the hand of his brothers, because they had allowed something to get inside of them. They had allowed some mess to get inside of them. See, when you don't stop something at the own sight of what you see, and you start letting it get beyond what you saw and get into your psyche, then goes into your heart, it'll make you do some things. See, at the first moment of you seeing the situation and, wait a minute, that doesn't look right to me. That made me feel some type of way. See, you should deal with it right there at the onset of the problem. Learn to deal with stuff at the onset of the issue. If they had dealt with it at the onset, maybe if they had told their father to say, listen, Dad, we're feeling some type of way because you're spending a lot of time with the baby. And it's like you're not spending time with us anymore. Then maybe some clarity could have came to them. But what happened was they began to coerce. Yeah, I believe there was a ringleader, because there usually always is a ringleader, so they began to coerce and they began to conversate and talk. You see how he doing that baby all the time, every time he always act like he got to take that baby everywhere and all this kind of stuff. He is act like that baby all this and that. Every time you turn around, he got this and that for that baby. Look at that coat he done made that baby. My coat black. He ain't make me no coat like that, but he done made this baby this coat of many colors and all. Just look at him. Every time he act like he got to give this baby so much and all, so much attention and all this kind of stuff. He ain't been out here in the field to do nothing with us. When the last time he came out here to even play basketball with us or to do anything, because he got to do so much with this baby. See, conversations start talking, they talking like that, and that's one way that conversation will come about to change a person's mind. But then I'm going to show you another way that conversation comes about to change a person's mind. So you got to know that the enemy is slick. Now, he's a subtle joker in what he does, so he doesn't always come looking like he's messy. Many of us get deceived because he doesn't always come looking like he's messy. See, a lot of times he'll come and he'll look like he a friend. You hear me? A lot of times he'll come and he will look like he is a friend. And so what he does is this right here. He will come and he'll say, hey, how you doing? I'm doing all right. Did Daddy call you? He come in there last night and tuck you in? Huh? No, he didn't come in there last night and tuck me in. When was the last time that He came in there in your room and tucked you in. Now that I think about it, he ain't came in and tucked me in. It's been a long time since that baby been here. Since Joseph been born. He ain't been in here and tucked me in. You know, I didn't want to start nothing.